All right, everybody, I am here for our Week 4 battle. My name is Not Quite Cause, coach of the Toronto Punk Rock, and we are facing Coach rreigntstar and the Aura Guardians here in our Week 4 matchup. Before we get this video started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And with that, let's move right on into our team builder. So first of all, the team that we are facing has an Iron Valiant, Gouging Fire, and Ogre Pond Water, which are three of the scariest setup sweepers possible. And King Gambit's obviously really good in the back too, with other threats such as Mousehold, Kilowatt Chill, and Third Rigger Raft. Obviously, there's also a Mew. Mew can really run anything, and then Pincurch and Spite Ups and Palde and Wooper can, just kind of do whatever they need to do. So, with that, in mind, let's get right into our team builder here. So first off, I have our Mandibuzz here, first spawn I have, with a bunch of different defensive EVs to live certain hits and hit certain marks. The Defog, Iron Defense, Knockoff Roost set. So Iron Defense is mainly there because there are a lot of setup sweepers, such as the Gouging Fire or King Gambit, or Ogre Pond Water. Not so much the King Gambit, but specifically Gouging Fire and Ogre Pond Water, that if they want to start setting up either Dragon Dance or Swords Dance or something, we can Iron Defense to meet those same marks, and then Roost to kind of stall them off. As you'll see on our Quagsire here, we have Toxic Spikes, so this is a very crucial way of being able to weaken the team, and it's also really good at keeping hazards off the field. Something like a hazard lead Mew is something that we saw in testing a couple of times, and is something scary. But overall, it's a really good mon to tank hits on a lot of different mons. Also, 1v1s for Rigoraph, unless it's Terra Fairy, but it allows us to reveal Terra. And it's just a good mon for walling a bunch of different things and being able to handle some of the setup speakers. Mousehold as well. Next up, we got our Scarf Bombi. This thing is our lead if we ever see a Mew. If we see a Mew, we immediately lead this thing no matter what. Sticky Webs are very good for the team if we want to try and go for a late game PALAFIN sweep or a late game Latios sweep. Even though it is Choice Scarf, it pretty much speeds everything except for a Booster Energy Iron Valiant. The Sticky Webs will guarantee that we can handle that, and they'll also remove the speed boost, which means that we can properly outspeed it with other things, such as a PALAFIN in the right scenarios. Most of the time not. But it's overall a very strong... Actually, no, with Webs it does, that's right. Otherwise, Trick is really good for locking any sort of hazard lead Mew into it, and then we can immediately defog with the Mandibuzz. It's also good for stopping setup sweepers late game or bulky mons. If we need to, deal with a bulky mon, we can trick it, and that will pretty much shut it down, allowing some of our offensive mons to beat it a lot more easily, or it becomes a lot more one trick, and allows our other bulky mons to kind of wall them 1v1. We also have Scarf Boomblast because this is the only mon of the team that outspeeds Iron Valiant when it has a booster energy. This outspeeds it by 1 point with the speed EVs we have here, and Boomblast is obviously super effective, so it's there for damage. And then, yeah, U-turn is just there to, if we trick, we can U-turn out, or if we don't know what we want to do, we can immediately U-turn. Then we got Quagsire. Once again here, our Terra Poison Quagsire. This time with the Toxic Spikes, Earthquake, Body Press, Recover. Fully Fizz Death, because we want to be able to wall things like the Gouging Fire and the Ogre Pond Water. Unaware because of how many setup sweepers are on the opposing team, and we do have a Rocky Helmet, so that if Mousehold wants to go for a Population Bomb sweep, we pretty much instantly kill it, which is really nice, because that's the highest possible damage output we could get without some sort of like booster energy buff or a choice band. Otherwise, setup sweepers are completely ignored because of Unaware. Earthquake hits the Gouging Fire, as this thing is made to wall it, and Body Press also hits stuff like the King Gambit, and overall, those two stabs hit the opposing team for a lot of damage. Toxic Spikes are crucial this matchup. The only grounded poison my opponent has is Palde and Wooper, and the only hazard removal my opponent has is Mousehold with Tidy Up. So Toxic Spikes, once they are on the field, for the most part, stay, and that makes it really hard for mons like the Iron Valiant, the Gouging Fire, and the Ogre Pond Water to want to set up, especially when something like a Mandibuzz can sit in front of it, and Iron Defense, or even a Quagsire can just recover, as the buffs will not end up mattering, and Rocky Helmet can chip away at a lot of these mons. Next up, we got our debut of Amoonguss. Not doing it here, because I'm not doing it, but we got Pyapa Berry here for either Mew, or a Psychic move on Iron Valiant, or a Zen Headbutt on Ogre Pond Water, or if we want this thing to 1v1A for Rigoraph. Pyapa Berry is extremely useful keeping our Amoonguss around and to be able to just check for a couple of moves and potentially get a Spore off. Spore in this matchup is really strong against stuff like King Gambit, and also before we get our Toxic Spikes up, allows us to check for Sap Sipper on the Farigiraf, because if it's Sap Sipper, then we know it is not our Armor Tail, which means that Jet Punch on a PALAFIN can hit it late game, and it's a good check. If Spore does fail due to either Sap Sipper, or something's poisoned, or something like that, or Clear Smog gets blocked due to like a Steel type, we have Stomping Tantrum to get some boosted damage out. to hit opponents for a little bit more, and Hex to benefit off either a Spooler or all the toxic spikes on the field. And then obviously Clear Smog just to reduce setup. The opponent's team is super setup heavy, so I have a lot of stuff prepared to prevent them from setting up and overall keep my bulky mons alive. We also have our PALAFIN here, Best Crasher, coming back with a Bulk Up, Jet Punch, Drain Punch, Encore set. Encore, once again, lock him into setup, but it allows us to always 1v1 a Gouging Fire late game, as we can Bulk Up to match its Dragon Dances and get to a high enough point where it's still stuck in a Dragon Dance and our Jet Punch can kill. It also allows us to lock in certain variants of like Spike or setup Ogerpon, which means that we can kill it with a Drain Punch, as that's pretty much the only thing that prevents this thing from sweeping, especially when assisted with webs. We outspeed a Gouging Fire by 1 point, so if it is up by a Dragon Dance and weighed down by a Sticky Web or something, it could have +1 just raw. Along with an attack boost, so this thing will always outspeed it in those types of scenarios, and then we could Encore it in. So, like, yeah, if it's, like, minus speed, and we know it's going to Dragon Dance, we can switch on our PALAFIN and Encore it from there to start setting up, which is always really nice. And then Jet Punch and Drain Punch are pretty much the only offensive moves we're actually going to need this game, as they kill pretty much everything. And then last but not least, we have our Latios here. Choice Scarf outspeeds everything except for a Booster Energy Iron Valiant. Our specific speed is enough to outspeed a +1 Gouging Fire, as that is a really scary sweep mon. Flip Turn, Draco Meteor, Luster Purge, or Sphere to hit the Gambit, as it blocks both of our stabs. And then once the Gambit is gone, Luster Purge is super duper good against my opponent's team. We're able to outspeed everything without even going for the buffed speed investment, so I'm able to get my 252 Modest here to absolutely nuke things. We actually one-shot a non-defensive Kilowatt roll with just Luster Purge, making it really good at just cleaning everything up. Flip Turn here, obviously, to get momentum. And yeah, so that's going to be the team, guys. I have done multiple different mocks. We have one with pure offense. We have one with stall. We have one with pretty much everything. Every mod on this team has a role, and I am feeling really confident. So hopefully we can get this win. I'll be right back with the battle. Guys, we are back. We're going to accept our battle right here. And the first thing we are going to look at, we see the Mew. We see no King Gambit, which is pretty big, because that means that we get to spam things with our Latios here. Look at the rest of the team. Let's see what else is missing. No Mouse Hold means no hazard removal. And we see no Paldean Whooper, which means that Toxic Spikes are really big versus this team. We see Mew, so we're always going to lead our Rabombi here. And it could be Terra Fergaraf or Terra Kilowattrel here. Really have no clue. So I'm going to wish good luck to my opponent. And we're going to lead with our Bidon Lames. And we see lead Mew. So this thing is probably hazards, which is amazing. That means we get our trick off immediately here. And we get to lock this thing into hazards. If it's not hazards and it's some sort of setup, we lock it into that. So we always trick versus a lead Mew here, which is one of the, most important things we can do, because we don't want hazards against this team. We can defog them with Mandibuzz. We don't want this thing becoming a problem late game. So we get our trick, Covert Cloak, and we are encored into trick. That is perfectly fine. So Covert Cloak, I'm assuming this thing didn't want to deal with maybe Spadef drops from a Latios. It's a bit of a weird one to me. I guess I just didn't want to deal with extra effects here. I don't know what this thing wants to do at all after that Encore. So we're just going to go right into this. Oh, you know what? It's trick locked into Encore. So we get Ferrograph here. This is a perfect switch. So now we get to check if this thing wants to Terra Fairy. If it does, that's fine. We should live any hit. We are especially defensive. And Knockoff is going to do a fair chunk to this thing if it chooses not to Terra. So we get to see what type of set this is. And automatically we're off to a good start. We get Covert Cloak, which isn't very necessary since Shield Dust is a Covert Cloak button ability. So I might trick that later, considering that I don't think that really does much versus my team. And I could probably get a useful item and maybe ruin some other mon here. But I'm just going to go for Knockoff here. We get a solid 41%. And Light Clay. So this thing is dual screens. I had not seen that, but that's really good because that means that this thing is not going to be able to do much here. And because it's not going to do too much damage, I'm just going to go right into our Quagsire here, as I don't think this will be able to do much to us. And I don't have to Terra here because I don't want to take any extra damage from a Psychic move. So I'm just going to set... Oh, Energy Ball. Shoot, I did not see that. I should have thought about that. Big misplay on my end here. Shoot, now we don't get our Toxic Spikes up, which sucks. They have nothing that could deal with Toxic Spikes on this team. Shoot, man. Oh, you know, I was just thinking energy ball. I probably should have looked to see if this thing got it. I could have Terra Poison there to guarantee a toxic spike and then doubled back into Mandibuzz. That was the safe play. It is what it is, dude. I could go into Amoonguss here, but I don't think I want to burn it now that we don't have our answer. That's really going to suck. That's going to kill me. Didn't think about that. I could go into... Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go into PALAFIN and switch into Mandibuzz. So that'll get this thing activated. Just as we get our PALAFIN activated, I don't really think this thing does much to us. Light Screen, Reflect, Energy Bell. So I didn't want to deal with the Quag. Yeah, I have brought Quag a lot. Let me get a switch into Killer Watchel here. Okay, this is fine. This thing is behind a screen. I do not know what it wants to do. But, regardless, it could go for... This is rough. I don't think I kill... Light Screen actually ends after this turn, and I always outspeed. I don't think any electric move wants to kill, unless this thing Terra Electrics, which it can. But just in case this thing doesn't get any, like, setup, right? You know, I didn't see too many kilos throughout my different games. Nasty Plot, I guess Agility. It could Thunder Wave here. No, this really doesn't set up at all. So I think I'm just going to check what this thing wants to do and knock off so that it doesn't have an item. We see Electro Ball here, so that doesn't do way too much damage. We get a safe knockoff here and safety goggles, so this thing couldn't be spored was the idea. Okay, this is fine now. So I get to go Latios here. Oh, Thunder Wave it. That's really, man. Ugh, this is frustrating. I'm not playing very well. Draco Meteor. Nah, we just Luster Purge always here. Luster Purge hits pretty much everything, but the Mew here really hard. And we do see the Mew, so I could have gone for... And we get fully paralyzed, so it doesn't matter anyways. I don't know what this thing wants to do. I'm a little worried. I mean, I should live anything. I just want to... Yeah, knockoff's fine at this point, because Choice Scarf's not going to matter. I get a Draco Meteor off, and that does a solid amount. So I could save this thing as a sack. I don't really want to waste this now. If this thing wants to knock off the Rabombi, that's honestly fine by me. Yeah. Cool. So I'm going to get Sticky Webs up here. With Sticky Webs... This makes it really good for a late game PALAFIN. This thing comes in. And we can just... We always outspeed here. So I'm just going to go into the Latios and sack it. If it wants to set up... Actually, no, because if it wants to set up... I don't want to... I think I just got to go Mandibuzz here. It does not set up Flame Charge. Interesting. So it's raising the speed. Cool. Alright, in which case, I can Roost here. I don't want to, have the problem where I die. We can check what this thing wants to do. Heat Crash. Okay, cool. I'm going to Roost one more time. And then I think we start Iron Defensing so that this thing can't. Okay, he's going for more speed. Cool. So now I get the Iron Defense here. Dragon Rush. Interesting. Is this thing Blunder Policy? That's all I could think of. Because we haven't seen an item from this thing yet, and I don't know why else you'd want to run Dragon Rush. I'm going to Roost here first. I don't want to make the mistake I did last battle and rely on Calcs. Because if we get crit, this thing comes in here. We should tank anything. Actually, no. I can sack my Latios here. Because we no longer need it. Thunder Wave. So we block a Thunder Wave, which is nice. And now I think I just click Luster Purge here. I don't really care what wants to happen. This thing dies. And we get to see what he wants to go into here. He wants to go right into the Mew, which we have. It is Choice Scarfed. It can knock off. It can Encore. It can do a bunch of different things. I don't really know what it does to you. Just go Mandibuzz here. And we get to knock something off here, which is pretty big. It worries me a bit that we haven't seen the Ogre Pun yet, but I think this is honestly fine. And now we get to see any sort of final move. Is he just going to sack this? Okay. Cool. So I don't really know what he wants to go in here. We had a bit of a rough start. Not having Quagsire is really big, but I think we've recovered pretty well here. This thing coming in, it's just going to click T-Wave. I don't really want this thing Thunder Waving anything, but I don't have a safe switch into it. I I think I'm fine with the Moongus here and just clicking Spore. I think Spore is super free. Nah, I'd rather just absorb the T-Wave on this thing. And that's... yeah, no. Oh, woohoo! I nearly did something very illegal there. Electro Ball is going to do 78 now with the increased... Ah, I see. Okay. Sacking this is fine. To go PALAFIN afterwards. Based off that knockoff damage, yeah, PALAFIN for sure kills. And then we have this to switch into an Ogerpon immediately after. Do we need this? No, I think our end game here... Yeah, our end game here, because this thing can still hit a... Especially now that webs are up, we can still hit that Iron Val. So we're just going to sack this. And perfect. So now we get to go into you, and we just get to click a kill here. And if they want to switch this out and preserve this, they could just go Ogerpon. No, they go for Rigoraph. Interesting. Armor Tail. Okay, cool. Now we know for certain. All right. So Energy Ball. We can switch into Rebombi here. He goes for Light Screen. Ooh, wait. What if I go... Okay, he goes Gouging Fire here. Oh, wait. This could be really big. If I bulk up on PALAFIN here, I don't know if he can do anything. Oh, please go for Flame Charge. Please go for Flame Charge thinking you could do something. Please go for Flame Charge. Earthquake. That does so little. Oh my god. Wait, this could be it. Does he have anything left here? Yeah, we have to Jet Punch. Okay, it's dead. Okay, Light Screen's down. And comes for Rigoraph. Minus speed. It's gonna go for Energy Ball here. Thinking if we bulk up... Nah, we can't risk. Can't risk anything. Just go for the kill. Ooh, does not die. Okay. That is a problem, but I think we're okay here. My main concern at this point is Ogerpon, but I can probably get this thing set back up. Do we see the Ogerpon here, I'm assuming? Yeah, we do see the Ogerpon. I'm fine with this, because yeah, Trailblaze. Okay, cool. Nice. I don't want to risk anything on PALAFIN here. I think PALAFIN still could be able to win late game here. Yeah, we don't want this thing getting any speed. We wall this. We are clear smog, so we're just going to remove that speed. And no matter what he wants to switch into here, we should be able to do something based off that set on the Gouging Fire. Okay, yeah, here goes the Gouging Fire. I should be able to live any hit and go for Spore here. And if we can Spore, I think we win. Perfect. All right, that's a sleep. This is weakened. I go PALAFIN here. In comes the Iron Val. So it's now booster attack. I think I double into a Moongus now because we don't want this thing. We don't want this thing taking damage. PALAFIN here is our end game. All right. So, sorry, I've just not really been thinking about my plays too much here. I'm a little worried here. Okay, it's physical. Perfect. If this thing wants to run any sort of psychic move, we eat it with a Pyapa Berry, which is very, very crucial. And I am fine clear smogging this, because at this point... no, actually, I want to keep that... Yeah, if it's neutral speed, I outspeed with Rebombi by 1, even when this thing dies. Ice Punch, cool. So I die next turn. All right, clear smog. Perfect. That is definitely Moonblast range. So there's the Moonblast. All right, Moonblast, and we always outspeed here by 1 point. This is going to kill. So Bombi here should get the kill on Iron Valiant. Perfect. So now it all comes down to the end game here, which is a very familiar end game. Okay. So do we live 2? I doubt we live 2. So I'm just going to Moonblast here. 46%. Here comes the Ivy Cudgel. Should die here. All right, the question is, do we live whatever grass move he has? He might actually have no grass move, which could be crazy. And we know this is nothing, so it all comes down to whether or not we live this upcoming hit. Oh, wait, we outspeed because of the webs. Okay. All right. I don't want anything crazy happening, so I'm just going to bulk up. It's asleep. I'm safe. I just don't want to lose to anything crazy at this point. I'm going to bulk up twice for complete safety. And we get 2 turns of sleep. Okay, Drain Punch does not kill. That's fine. We should live any hit here. Okay. does absolutely nothing. And I'm going to encore it so that it cannot go for Earthquake at this point. And I'm just going to Drain Punch now. Yeah, I don't want to getting any, like, Earthquakes off. All right, Drain Punch a kill, and we win 1-0, so really close. That was a big throw on me to throw away my Quagsire at the beginning. This could have made this battle a lot easier. Toxic Spice would have been chipping away at things. Quagsire's a great switch into a lot of mons. Big throw on me in the beginning, but we recovered well. We got our webs up when we were able to, and those webs allowed us to just win all those speed calcs that we knew we could. And ultimately won the game. PALAFIN here, able to clean things up. Didn't have the switches, and the Encore does come in clutch there. Every single Mon had their part. Spore just making things slightly better. I think we played that endgame perfectly, as we should have. And yeah, so I'm not proud of my Quagsire sweep. Or Quagsire sack in the beginning. I know I could have done a lot better due to the way that I went in my mocks, but we got the win regardless. We are now 3-1. We have managed to beat rreigntstar and his Aura Guardians. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.